asking for a divorce would cause this much hate. I've literally, I mean, last time I spoke to you guys, I was like, I'm getting dragged. No, I've been dragged. And I'm in a bit of a rock and a hard place with it at the minute because I really have shared next to nothing. Truly because, one, I've got kids and I don't want to drag him. You know, I don't want either of us to drag each other, but it's so crazy that I'm naturally being dragged, and it's like we as women can't ask for a divorce. I'm absolutely mind boggled about people being like, okay, don't make this your entire personality here. And I'm like, wait a minute, I was married for 10 years. I asked for the divorce over a year ago and didn't tell any of you. And I've shared a video relating to the divorce over about 6 days, and this is apparently me dragging it out. It's like, women just don't stand a chance. We don't stand a chance. Like, it's actually insane. Even when I'm sharing normal content now, people are like, this is digging your husband.
All right, my friends. We're going to examine another case of a woman leaving her man after 10 years. Now, she went viral on TikTok because she was in her car clapping about how she's now divorced and she's celebrating the fact. And of course, this causes a visceral reaction to people who are either searching for a man, can't find a man in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, 60s, right? This causes a lot of frustration to men who commit their hard-earned money, time and energy and their biological kids to a woman to then ultimately be told, yeah, I'm not happy, and then the woman abandons him. So a woman leaving a marriage that obviously benefits both parties, breaking her commitment, always evokes a visceral reaction in most people. And that's what we're going to talk about. I want to highlight her video because if you've been like me, I've been through 2 divorces. I get it, man. It really makes you stop and think hard about whether you want to do it again. You know, it really disrupts your whole psyche on how you view the opposite sex, because marriage for a man is a serious commitment, not only emotionally but financially. And because divorce benefits the woman, it's not the marriage that the man fears, it is the divorce that he fears more. So my friends, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, go and pick up my new digital vault products that have just been created for you, which is technically over 8,500 pieces of content that you can customize in the free version of Canva. And you can either produce your own content, recreate your own content, or sell that same content and start your own digital business with PLR, private label rights, and MMR, master resellers rights, to all of the products that I'm giving you guys. All right. In other words, I'm giving you the blueprint to a new business. So let's get into the video, my friends. So the name of this channel is I'm Choosing Divorce After 10 Years of Marriage. And the channel name is Aliyah Salah. And listen, this is going to frustrate you a little bit, gentlemen, but I think it's a great lesson for us to understand about female nature and today's modern woman. Let's get into it. Of course, I'm going to pin the link in the comment section at the top of the comment section, and I'll also put it in the description of this video. Aliyah, I want you to understand, my goal isn't to put you down or to drag you, as you said in your video. My goal is to use this video as a teaching tool for women like you who've made these mistakes, and for men to recognize that this is one of the major problems with today's modern women. Women who have been influenced to think that marriages are some magical fairy tale environment where you're going to constantly be happy. Marriages are tough, my dear. If you haven't divorced yet officially, please don't do it. Please go back and have a conversation with your husband and seriously look at repairing your marriage. Because I'm going to tell you one thing, my dear. As a UK citizen, it's going to get really ugly in the UK. All right? Let's hear what this lady have to say. Now, I wanted to introduce you to her from that one video. She did a second video that I think is much more rich on the reasons why she decided to walk away from her marriage.
I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to start. It's been a while, and if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you're probably going to think, oh, that's what she meant. So here we are. I'm getting a divorce. The reason why I'm making this is because I know the choice I've made is... it's not normal in today's society. I don't think it's ever really being considered normal, but that doesn't mean it's not healthy.
Yes, it is normal. That's the scary part. In the West, over 50% of marriages end up in divorce. Most people actually are divorced more than once. So divorce is actually very normal. So I think what you're trying to say is it's disliked. Divorce is disliked, but it has become normal because women know that they benefit from divorce. There is no immediate pain to them. Note the word immediate, because the problem that most women have is that they rarely are capable of seeing the future. They rarely can think beyond the next rent check, the next trip, the next travel, the next restaurant, the next bill that they have to pay at the end of the month. Most women cannot see 5 years down the line. They honestly are stuck in a mode where they think that this time that they're going through is going to always just last and it's only going to get better. She's in the UK. Oh.
I can only give so much context because I'm still navigating it. I'm not yet divorced. God, I'm anxious. So, I've been suggesting things for quite a while about me getting a divorce, but I haven't actually said it. Now, I've said it online.
Okay, she's not quite divorced. Okay, she's making a video on the fact that she's divorced, but it hasn't legally gone through. In other words, oh God. So what I'm assuming has happened is both her and her husband has agreed that they're divorced. The paperwork hasn't gone through yet. I've been there. I stayed legally married to my first wife for almost 5 years before legally signing the paperwork for other circumstances I don't want to discuss. But the point is, I know what she's saying. She's disconnected from her husband. It's the same thing, really.
And my God, I'm being dragged. And my God, I'm being dragged. The internet is taking me by my ponytail and dragging me, right? And you know what, you might think, why is she laughing? Or there's people who are saying, oh, all this is for internet and for clout. And you couldn't be further from the truth. So here's the context. And again, this is the reason why I'm giving you context. One, I don't owe anybody anything. I have only lived my marriage, and so has the other person. However, I'm a content creator. I chose to share my life. I don't really like it when others give everything and then just on mute. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean you need to give everything, but just address it. And I'm addressing it, I'm owning it, right? But not just that, I'm being dragged for many reasons, which is just not the reason why I ended the divorce. But the biggest reason of all is the amount of messages I've got from people you cannot even believe. Now, I don't want to drag anyone else into this. It's nothing to do with the other people, but those happy households that you see online, offline, people you grew up with, their parents, they're messaging me saying, I wish I could have done what you did 20 years ago. So I feel I need to make this video because it just tells me that what I did and why it wasn't an easy decision to say, no, I don't want this marriage anymore. And even when I didn't care about the internet's validation, but I knew that one day I might think, will I regret this? Won't I regret this? And just getting messages from other households that have been married for 40, 50 years saying, I wish I could have had the courage to do it 20 years ago. Now it's too late. It breaks my heart because it's never too late. So,
you know, here's one thing that you guys have to understand about marriage as a married man. This shit ain't easy. But the alternative is harder. All of these people who are telling her, I wish I had the courage to do it earlier in life, have not experienced life outside of the marriage. And because marriages are not a bed of roses, they imagine in their mind that they would have had a better life without their spouse, not realizing that reality is a bitch. Fantasy, you can make up all of the blissful things that you missed in life because you were married to a person who did not allow you to go out and have your best whole life, your so-called freedom. This idea that it would have been better because I never had responsibilities, I would have had freedom, would have made it better. But yet, when you talk to all the women who never had a spouse, who are crying, lonely, suffering from a massive amount of bills because they played with their life, they never had kids, they never had the joy of a spouse. And of course, they're fantasizing as well. They think that marriage is just this bundle of joy when you get a partner, because women live in this imaginary world and they can fantasize with absolute beauty from both sides. It's insane. Life is not a bed of roses, ladies. Even the women who have married the billionaire, there are some consequences and limitations for that. Look at Macron's wife yesterday on the plane when she shoved him in the face. They are multi-millionaires. The most powerful man in France. And she's still arguing in their freaking marriage.
Macron realizing people must have seen it, looks a bit shocked.
Think about it, my friends. Melania Trump, you think she's walking around going, ha, all the time? No, most of the time she don't want Trump to even touch her. So women have this fantasy in their head that if they didn't have this and they had this, they would be happier. But when they have this, all they can imagine is, oh, I could have had this and I would have been happier. Life isn't always about being happy, my friends. Life is all about accepting who you are at the moment that you are. Your existence and your absolute acceptance of life at that point, being happy with yourself, is what's going to make everything okay. But women have a really hard time being happy with themselves.
I asked for a divorce over a year ago. Now, I do want to say I did get married at a young age, but I don't really feel like that played a humongous part in the reason why I chose divorce today. What I do want to say is, when I met what's going to be my ex-husband, my children's father, and he met me, we both had different needs. We were both in a different time in our lives, and we've grown through different parts of our lives over 10 whole freaking years. So, when I married him and he married me, we had different needs. I worked 3 jobs, he had his 9-to-5 job. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a career, and that was fine. I was still really young. So I pulled my weight by just working 3 different jobs, and he pulled his weight by working his one job, which was his career. Fine, hats off to you. What I will say is, over the years, when you have a family, dynamics change. You know when people say, like, you don't know anyone until you live with them? No, you don't know anyone until you have a child with them. And that's not me saying have a child and find out who they are. What I'm saying is, living with someone is a walk in the park. Having a baby with them is another. I think what happened is, so let me be clear, because lots of people are also doubting some of the content as well that's been online, and I don't ever want you to doubt that.
I just want to address, once you have a child with a woman, or you're a parent now, the focus moves off of your partner. A lot of the focus now has to be born on the child, because you take your eye off of that child for 1 second, it literally can self-delete. Okay? It is incapable of taking care of itself. Fall off the bed. We got caught that, can we say that on YouTube? You know, sleeping and pass away in the cot or in the bed. You have suffocation. You have so many different ways for this child to self-delete, right? Because it's not capable of looking out for danger. And then the stress of that constantly. I mean, I remember when we had our first child, it was just a constant worry fest, you know? So the focus is no longer on your partner. And then when they're grown, where they can actually move now, mobile, then you got to worry about whether they're going to pull something down on them or break something or spill some sort of dangerous material in their eye, or it's insane the amount of trouble a child can get itself into. And then when they become older and they're in school, now you have to worry about so many other things and other outside influences like kids and, the pedos and all of this. So you're just constantly having to worry again. And then as they hit their teenage life, now it's a whole different level because now they're in the malls by themselves with their friends and they have their different influences. And so it never ends. The stress never ends. But you still have to keep your partner in mind. You still have to have the ability to multitask between the kids and your partner. And a lot of women have a hard time dealing with that because one thing we got to add when the women are involved is that they no longer can focus on themselves. And a lot of women, especially these type of beautiful women, they feel that, my life, I don't get to enjoy this. I'm not happy because I don't get to enjoy this part. Oh, my husband don't take care of me and take me to these places like he does because he's too busy working, trying to make money for the child. So she now becomes less of a priority to the man. And a lot of women don't like that, especially modern women who literally grew up on the internet. They have a problem with this, my friends. So this is what we're seeing. Because nowhere in any of these videos she mentioned that he was abusive or he was nasty or he was none of this. The man is a good man. It's just that she wasn't happy, fulfilled. The same shit we hear from so many women.
I asked for this divorce over a year ago. You probably will have seen we've taken family trips. We celebrated our son's birthdays together. That wasn't a lie. We wasn't pretending for the camera. It's because we're trying to co-parent. And I do hope that when this is completely ironed out and we're both in our separate homes, we still continue to co-parent. I don't want it to be, you go to your dad for this, you come to your mum for me. No, if our kids are doing something, let's text each other, let's get together, let's celebrate our kids together. Whether we have another relationship or not. And let's be real, we probably are going to have other relationships. I'm fucking 28 years old. He's 35 years old. We're probably going to have more relationships. However, I don't want anything after this point to jeopardize what we've created.
See, this is the kind of bullshit that women fantasize about. I still want all the benefits that this man is now giving me. I still need his meat. I still need his money, energy, attention, and time. And I don't care who else he has in his life. That's what I want. However, I want to still have the freedom of going out there and doing whatever I want. In other words, he has to provide all of the responsibility without any of the authority over me because I want to be free. This is the kind of bullshit that men freaking hate. Biggest problem that these women have is that they fantasize about it. And the reason I say fantasize, you now think that if a man has another woman in his life and she now requires his meat, money, energy, attention, and time, yes, compliments to Coach Greg Adams on that acronym, you think that his new girlfriend is going to be happy with that? Yeah, you're spending a lot too much time with your ex-wife and the kids. That's going to be the major complaint because any new woman that comes into his life is not going to freaking like that. If she has a man who decides to take her serious because now she's a single mom out there, and if he cares about her enough, he's not going to want her spending that kind of time with the ex-husband. This is the shitty part about co-parenting. People fantasize about this great co-parenting relationship, but it rarely works out great. It's a freaking nightmare. Most of the time, it's a disaster for kids. Kids adjust eventually, but it's still not conducive to teaching them what a good nuclear family should be. And all of those kids that did not grow up in a good, solid foundation home end up having really shitty future relationships because they've never seen a healthy relationship with mom and dad. But she don't give a shit about that. I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied with what I have currently.
I've tried to take a different approach to this divorce, and this is what the internet has got so wrong. So let's just rewind. I'm going to put a clip here of a TikTok that I posted. I posted it on TikTok, I posted it on Instagram. The world has gone mad. The reason I'm clapping so hard is because I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for not just saying it to myself, for not just saying it aloud, but for following through with it. So, my needs always felt fulfilled in this marriage.
So that TikTok was her celebrating that she's getting a divorce. She's proud of herself for failing at something that she committed to. That's technically what she's doing. Women celebrate their failures, and then they try to convince the rest of the world that, oh, I'm celebrating being strong enough to walk away from something that I don't want. That's not making me happy. Think about that shit. This is what women have convinced themselves of. The man isn't abusing me. He's a good, hard-working man. He's the father of my 2 kids. But I am not satisfied. I'm not getting everything I want. And because of that, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to break that up. This is why there's no more marriages in today's modern society. Because men are seeing this shit. And then all of these women are getting out there boasting about these things. So what do you think is going to happen now when other married women see this crap and say, oh, well, if she's did it and she's empowered, I can do it as well. Because I told you, women operate in this hive mentality. I see that she's doing it and she looks happy. I'm going to do it as well. Listen, she's 28. She's not a bad-looking woman. There'll be guys out there that will beat those guts out. But in today's modern environment, I can tell you, lady, there's not a lot of men who see you act like this to a good man and think that he's going to step into this hornet nest and be the next sucker that you have a child with and then eventually leave his ass. Yeah, you might get an older guy, 50s, who don't want to have any kids. But more than likely, that won't last either. You might have to end up with a man you don't necessarily want to marry. Because I'm telling you, lady, financially, you're going to be screwed. The UK is in serious problems right now. Your little flat that you're living in right now, AI coming on board, you ladies are going to lose so many jobs, it's going to be sickening to watch. You women have no idea what's in store for you. I give it 2 years. You know the owner of ChatGPT, Sam Altman. You know one of the other companies that he's invested in? Universal Basic Income. One of those companies that are looking into that. All right? Because he can see the problem that's happening. He has the company that's going to create the problem. He's going to invest in the company that will have the solution for it. Brilliant. I wonder if ChatGPT has that information on her. I'm gonna ask. Are you aware that Sam Altman, the owner of ChatGPT, your program, has invested in a company that deals with universal basic income?
Yes, I'm aware that Sam Altman has been involved in projects related to Universal Basic Income, UBI. One notable initiative is WorldCoin, which aims to create a new global digital currency and provide universal access to the global economy, with a vision that includes some form of UBI. The idea is to distribute a cryptocurrency to everyone on the planet to help address economic inequality and provide a financial safety net. This aligns with Altman's broader interest in using technology to solve large-scale societal challenges.
And don't you see that as an issue because he's created the technology, which is you, which will ultimately destroy a lot of jobs in the future?
I get where you're coming from, Paul. It's a complex issue. On one hand, advanced technologies like AI can lead to significant job displacement in certain industries. On the other hand, proponents like Altman argue that these technologies can also create new opportunities and efficiencies. The idea behind supporting UBI is to ensure a safety net as society adapts to these changes, helping people transition and maintain financial stability. It's definitely a balancing act between innovation and social responsibility.
Just so you know, I'm not talking out of my ass, my friends. This man is hedging his bets on both ends. So when I tell you, ladies, the storm is coming, it's coming and it's coming fast.
When I was younger, though, I was going out with my friends. Like I said, I had 3 jobs. I had, I'm living for myself. So anything that may have been missing or felt missing, it's less noticeable when you've got so much going on. But when you have a baby with somebody, and naturally, most people who become mothers, they don't continue to live the life they lived before they were pregnant. And I definitely didn't. So now I'm a mom, I'm a housewife, I'm a working housewife. Like, I've worked in finance for 8 years. So when you take that, I do my finance job, and then I'm a mom, and then I'm a wife. outside of that, there's not much more going on because I'm choosing to put all my energy into those 3 things: work, motherhood, marriage, right? It reached a point in my marriage where I just didn't feel seen anymore. And that's nothing.
Boy, the feminism lie has caught her so hard. So there's not much else going on. What else does she want? What else was she promised in this life besides being a mother, being a wife, and actually having a job? What else does she want? Please, ladies, tell me what else is required as an adult that would make you happy. What the I mean, it blows my mind when I listen to freaking women in this bullshit. You sound like kids on Christmas Day who didn't get the Xbox, the latest Xbox. You got the older Xbox, but you didn't get the latest one. You could not just be happy with the fact that, hey, you got an Xbox, one generation older. You wanted that brand new one. You want everything at one time, and it's just insane. And you know what you did with that Xbox? You destroyed it because you didn't get the nice shiny one. To me, that's the best analogy I can give you. You didn't get the latest one, so you destroyed the one that you had. Oh, man. This is frustrating to listen to.
No, I don't want it to be like, oh, it's all him. This is not a point scoring fest. Let me stress that so much. It's not all him. I've made mistakes. He's made mistakes, but we've always had such a healthy, happy marriage. We've never had any like infidelity or anything like that. However, I just stopped feeling seen in the marriage. And
this was a happy, healthy marriage, but I just wasn't seen. Make that shit make sense, please. Make that shit make sense. What do you want, lady? You weren't seen. The man's at work. He got 2 kids to take care of. He has a mortgage to pay. I'm gonna do a piece coming up soon on how bad the UK economy is. Most people are just living paycheck to paycheck. The average individuals are literally working to pay bills. You think it's bad in the US? The UK is worse. It's not a good economy, especially if you live in any major city. It's not good at all. So it just blows my mind that this woman wants more than a happy marriage.
When you put that with being a mom, I just think it's a recipe for disaster. So myself and my kid's dad, we've tried for a long time. And everything you've seen of us has been absolutely it. However, one person can't build a wall by themselves, you know. You need the other person to show up for you, right? And I don't feel I was being showed up for like that. And again, it's nothing. I'm not trying to drag him. He doesn't need to be dragged. He just wasn't fulfilling me anymore as a person. But anyway, I had my second baby. I had my first baby in lockdown. So all I had to do is survive. So that was easy for me. I wasn't on social media when I first had my first baby, but all my friends were like, when you have a baby, wait, it's going to hit you and la 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 la, you're going to be struggling to clean, your house will be a mess. And I just didn't get that. I had my baby 17 days or something into lockdown, so all I had to do is wake up, eat, sleep, repeat, and it was the most blissful way and most blissful entry into motherhood. So again, things that have bothered me the second time round may not have been highlighted so much because he was here, I was here, we were just looking after our baby. But when we had a second baby, I always knew, regardless of marriage, it was going to hit me, right? Because I'm now experiencing motherhood for the first time, but with 2 kids. Is that my kids? I can hear the door. It's not. I'm now experiencing motherhood for the first time, but with 2 kids. So I always knew it was going to be difficult because I didn't have to do the whole school run, rush around, go to work with a tiny baby. I just didn't have to do that the first time. So I did that the second time, right? And I remember saying to my husband at the time, this is a lot and I really need your help. And the kid's dad, you've all seen him on the internet. He's a nice guy, you know. He's like, how can I help? And I truly believe he thought the help was just saying he would help. I don't know. I told him what I needed from him, and he acknowledged what I needed from him, but I didn't feel any change. And what I do want to say is, towards the end, before I asked for the marriage, when I would do vlogs, I would include Farhan in the vlog towards the end of the day, because I didn't want it to be like a big hate fest of, why are you doing all this by yourself and where's your husband? But then I realised, why am I covering up my reality? Because this is my reality. I feel like I'm doing a lot of it by myself. So do the math here, right? I had the second baby and I just wasn't coping. And it wasn't because I had a baby. It was because I was struggling with the dynamic change of, shit, like now I'm looking after 2 kids. I'm still racing to do 40 hours a week in my finance job. I'm getting them dressed in the morning. I'm dropping them to school. I'm going to work. I'm racing from work. I'm picking them up. I'm feeding them. I'm showering them. I'm putting them in bed. And then Farhan would return home from work. So, my baby dad's out with his friends and he's not at home. But when I really needed him, I don't think he understood the gravity of what I meant when I said I really needed him. And I want you all to know that this is not a knee-jerk reaction of, I said it, you didn't listen, now it's finished. That's not what happened. I almost begged. You know what I mean? Like, I almost begged. But the kid's dad is so different to me. He's so different to me. And that is okay too. I don't work well with words. Please, like, show me. Show me. And I didn't feel like I was being shown, just because obviously he was leaving early for work, he was getting home late for work. So by the time he's come home to show anybody, nowadays I'm shagged, respectfully. I'm finished. I've had enough. I'm tired. I've already done all the hard work. So when you're returning saying, what can I do? Day's done. You know what I mean? Like, it was a bit of a recipe for disaster, I'll admit. But that naturally caused friction in our marriage because I constantly felt alone. I've honestly felt so alone. I thought, single moms talk about this struggle, and my mom was a single mom, and they talk about this struggle, and I struggled to see the discrepancy between my marriage and being a single mom. And again, it's not dragging him. I just don't think he thought, wait a minute, let me get a different job, because kids are not a 1 year, 2 year, it's a lifelong thing. Let me get a job closer to home, which I had the first time around, which means that I can, actively support her much more than past 7:30. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. No man says, let me get a job further away from home because I make less money. I don't want to be home. No. Obviously, the reason why he has a job that is further away from home is because more than likely he's making more money. There are opportunities there that are bigger and better for you and the family, right? So now you want him to compromise making less money just so that you will have less responsibility at home. And this is where the whole feminist ideal bullshit are really messing up women. Because what you're trying to say is your career, your job, not a career, he has the career, you got the job. You don't want to give up some of your hours because you're doing 40 hours a week. Why is it that you don't say to yourself, all right, listen, honey, I'm going to have to get a job where I can only do half of the day because I'm getting wiped out here. You're making more money there. That's fine. But if I cut back my hours, are we capable of actually supporting the family? More than likely, it'll be yes. Rather than him, who's the primary breadwinner, taking less money while you put in more hours and he spends the more productive time at home washing the dishes and freaking changing diapers. You see how ludicrous and illogical that would be? This is the problem that feminism have pushed into this whole equation. The man is making the bulk amount of money. You don't sacrifice the bulk amount. Just look at it like a stool has 3 legs. He's earning to support 2 legs. You're earning to support 1. You want him to cut off part of his leg so that you now have a wobbly stool that could fall over at any time, instead of you cutting off a very small bit, which would not affect the stability of the stool. I tried to get the best analogy I can give there, but this is insane. Guys, listen, I'm going to shut it off there. I wanted you to listen to this woman because this is today's modern woman. who's displaying the problem we have in marriages. And if you ladies are watching this, please understand this is the primary reason that men no longer want to get married. So if you're out there single and men aren't committing to you, this is what men are afraid of. This woman needs to get off of social media. She needs to stop being a content creator. She needs to focus on her 2 kids and her job and her husband and realize that life isn't a freaking bed of roses, because hard times are coming and it's not going to be pretty. And all she's doing is setting herself up for a freaking major failure. Let me know what you guys think. Like this video, please, my friends. Let's have a conversation in the comment section. And of course, please pass this video on to others. So my friends, listen, subscribe, book a session if you need help with your relationship, YouTube channel, making money, or your health, whatever it is, book a chat. I'll be happy to help you as best as I can. All right. So until tomorrow, my friends, remember, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.